This is Infection, the survival podcast, recorded live on Tuesday, November 21st, 2017, episode 149. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Infection, the survival podcast. Infection is your source for the latest information on survival video games. We're bringing you the latest news, reviews, updates, and more each and every week. My name is Nick Craig, at Nicholas M. Craig is my Twitter. InfectionPodcast.com is our website. A couple days before Thanksgiving here. Thank you so much for joining us. Joining me, as he does, for the last 149 weeks, Brian, which is a very long time.
We're right on the tip of 150.
I mean,
close.
well, pretty close next week, just to be to be accurate.
If we make it that long.
I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe we just decide this is it. You know,
like 149 was a great number. In there,
great number. That would be so infuriating to. I don't even think it would bother me that much, but like a hardcore fan, why 149?
I know, it's just like one of those odd numbers.
199 would be my favorite episode to quit on. I mean, you just talk about just outrage from people, and then you can come back and do like a episode 200 like months later, and it'd be
kind of like that the cheapest prices, the 199.
Yeah, Eric's cheap prices. What's going on, Brian? How are you?
Anyways, if you want to find me at Boise Computer on Twitter, more than welcome. Go check out my blog, biteoftech.com. Of course, our website, great place to go. Connect to our Discord, find your Steam group. Also, we have all of our different links if you want to watch this show after the fact. For YouTube, we have our podcast forums. So whatever you want to watch that on iTunes and any kind of Android app. Also, some ways that you can listen to it on your computer if you want to do the audio only. And of course, we have our Twitch show here live. So, we have people here in the chat room that during the show will communicate with us. We'll ask questions, make comments, different things. So if you want to be a part of that, get here Tuesdays at 7:00 Eastern, and you can participate in our live show. And it's we have a link on there. It's twitch.tv/infection podcast.
Yes, sir.
All in word.
Brian, there's something very special behind you.
Yes. So we have our server. It came in today.
That was a great shot.
So,
right there. Can you hand model it a little bit more? Just
gonna be.
Wow.
Well, one other shot, but so yeah, we got our server in today, and it's a dual. It's pretty much a 12 core, 128 gigabytes of RAM. Got a hard drive for it that's ready to put in, and then we will be able to get it set up and get some games going on there.
Yeah. So
one thing I want to get the Forest on there is one of the first ones I think
that we'll do.
We need to play with him.
Yeah,
because that's one we haven't really played, but we want to.
No, unfortunately, the game.
And we played it a little bit, but not anything in depth. There's a lot in that game we haven't seen.
Well, it's just a pain to play without a dedicated server. You've got to. I mean, it's a user is the host. Is the server.
I'd have to log back in, and then I have to stay there the whole time. So if people want to keep playing after I got to go, it's like either I just leave my computer sitting there, which it might crash out.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's not a great situation. So this should give us a good opportunity to play games like that. So it'll be a lot of fun. And that was the giveaway that we did this past month and a half, probably, right? Is that about how long?
Yeah.
Month and a half. Or not the giveaway, but the donations that we received.
Month and a half, 2 months. Yeah.
Yep. So we were receiving donations throughout that time and raised $400 for the server. Nick and I pitched in a little bit for it. And then that pretty much,
very cool,
ready to go.
So we will over the next. I said we were going to do it by this week. Obviously, I totally forgot. We'll promote some type of poll where you can go and vote. It's not going to be in service for. I mean, we got this week Thanksgiving. It'll be in service over the next few weeks, so we'll have some time to plan it out and get it all set up. But the server is there. It's it's all the way from Connecticut to Boise, Idaho, and it's
yes,
ready. It'll be ready to rock and roll here just in a couple of weeks. So again, thanks to everybody that made that possible, and hopefully we'll be getting use out of it here very soon. So again, thanks to everybody that made that possible.
Yes. And so one thing for this coming week, this Friday night, we're going to be doing Rocket League.
Oh yeah.
So for those that we've done it before, as a game night, and we've always had a decent turnout for it, and it's always a lot of fun. It's one of those games where I haven't had anybody afterwards come to us and say, I wish we wouldn't do that game again. It's one that when you're playing it, it's a lot of fun. It's really good with the controller. So if you have a controller for your computer, maybe an Xbox 360 controller or something like that, it's best with a controller. A lot easier to do. You can do it with a keyboard and mouse if you choose, but we'll be doing that. This will be at 8:00 Eastern.
Yes.
So it's going to be an hour earlier for those maybe that didn't catch it the last couple weeks. But we're doing it 8:00 Eastern on Friday night.
There you go.
And just as a heads up, next week for people that maybe there's some sales or something coming up, you never know, on Steam. Left 4 Dead 2 is what we're planning on for next week. So if you see that on sale and you don't happen to have Left 4 Dead 2, maybe grab it. I don't know. Do they do some sort of a Thanksgiving sale on Steam?
I don't. They may do a couple flash sales. I know obviously the next big sale is the Christmas sale, which will be here sooner. I mean, hit me kind of like a ton of bricks earlier this week because I was doing some preparation for work. Christmas is 4 weeks away.
Yep.
So.
Well, Left 4 Dead 2 is a game that is $20 when it's not on sale. And so, but they sell it for dirt cheap when it is on
like
sale.
$5.
So it's one of those. Yeah. So keep your eyes on it. It's a really fun game. It's one that's just fun every once in a while to jump in with your friends and run around and just shoot a lot of zombies.
Oh,
it's
I forgot.
Pretty mindless game.
Black Friday. Well, Green Man Gaming and G2A and sites like that will probably do.
So you may
Black
have
Friday
an opportunity
sales.
to grab. Grab this extra cheap on that day. So if you can, grab Left 4 Dead this week if it's on sale.
2.
That way you don't. Or sorry, Left 4 Dead 2. Yeah, sometimes it'll come as a bundle. You can get the Left 4 Dead bundle, but Left 4 Dead 2 is the one that we'll play.
Yes, sir. And we always have a good time with that as well. Speaking of games that we should not play again for Game of the Week, Heroes and Generals. I mean, you talk about being misled beyond belief. But I sat here for the last 149 weeks. I've moved halfway across the country, and Brian has been there for me each and every week. And talk about a total letdown on a game. Heroes and Generals was arguably the worst thing I've ever played. No, I mean, I honest to God did not have any fun playing the game.
I think it's gotten worse. I think it's gotten more pay to win because and there's different game modes. Like the second that you get in a game mode that allows the tanks and the planes and everything kind of goes downhill because as you saw, the other team has a tank. You don't have a tank. All they do is roll up. You can't kill them, right?
Yeah, they just kill you.
All they do is roll up and they roll up and win the game. And it's a game that if you put enough money into it, you can buy a tank. So it is frustrating. I kind of wish I would have loaded us into. I just don't play the game enough to know exactly what all the different modes do. But if we would have loaded in the ones that didn't have tanks and everything, it would have been more even. I think we had some of them. It was on random is the thing. So that last game we did just had. I mean, we got slaughtered in that game. Plus, we were running around. Half our team is all people that don't really play the game.
Nobody plays the game besides you.
Yeah. Well, Musty. I mean, still, like, it's not enough. Most people don't know the objectives. They don't know how to manipulate it. So we're just kind of running around getting shot.
Well, unfortunately,
that's one thing we looked up. Like, I don't know how many people actually cheat in that game too, because that'd be a game that seems like it'd be pretty easy to cheat in.
Yeah, the cheats are available online for not too expensive. So it's not that the game. Well, it does suck. I don't know how to say this. The game itself isn't terrible, but the pay to win, it makes it so unfair. It's so lopsided that it makes the game. That's what makes the game suck. If you were to take the pay to win aspect out of it, I'm sure the game would be fine. If you were to just make it a free to play without a pay to win, kind of like TF2, I'm sure it would be great. The game sucks with pay to win because we were just getting
skins only.
I mean, literally, the one sniper on one of the maps we were playing was just killing us on spawn. You couldn't even walk to the objective. You would get sniped on spawn every time, and it was just to a point where it's like, what the hell? What are we doing here? What am I doing? Honest to God, Brian, and I'm not over dramatizing this for the podcast. I absolutely hated that game, and I will never play it again.
Well,
which is fine.
What's funny is Laura likes that game a lot. Like that's one of her
because you
favorite
just
games.
buy her things so that she can win.
No, like but the thing is she likes to earn the weapons and like work her way through, kind of like what you do in Call of Duty. You gotta grind and you gotta earn the better guns and things like that. And then there's a sense of ownership to it. And so she enjoys doing that with that game because you can get the sniper rifle and upgrade your gun and kind of work through it. But the problem is not everyone else is earning it. As you said, there's easy opportunity for a lot of people to turn around and just buy it. Because that's the goal. I mean, if you think about what a game like that, their whole goal is to frustrate you in the grind.
Yes.
To make it so that you'll turn around and say, all right, I'm going to spend $20 and not have to deal with this grind. I just want that gun. I'm tired of playing this over and over again. And, and that's it. And so that's the issue is with that, they make it to where it's not that you're getting perks for what you pay for. You're actually getting like high-end guns, tanks, planes, things that really change the pace of the game.
Yeah, I just really did not have a good time. The only saving grace is that I was able to catch up with a couple of people that I haven't talked to in a while, like Musty. But that was about the extent of my enjoyment out of the game night. So it's, it'll be up in the rotation again, I guess. I will probably be sick.
Well, and what we can do next time is make sure we'll do the map we'll do maps that don't have any kind of vehicles.
Yeah, okay.
Is that I think that's the big thing, especially the planes, because we were having people just like flying over us and shooting us, and it's like no one on our team had a plane, so like what are we supposed to do?
Yeah,
well, we can't do anything.
Nothing, just die and die and die.
Yep.
But you know what? The game was free, so I guess I can only gripe so much. It was free. I didn't have to pay anything to play it. So, Heroes and Generals. If you missed it, I'm sorry.
Yep, you're forgiven.
Yeah. Let's see, Brian. We got a whole bunch. We've got some off-topic news to get into. We should probably jump into this first, unless you want to talk about Ark first. Do you have a preference?
Nope. We can talk about this first.
So this is off topic. It's just kind of a story, a conversation, a topic that.
But it is on topic for us because we deal with this in a lot of the games that we play.
Can you go ahead and introduce it to us?
All right. So this week, EA says they temporarily removed microtransactions from Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
And this is something that was, I guess the microtransactions were just really bad in this one. I don't have the game.
I've got some of the details. I believe it cost something. Yeah. It cost over $2,000 to buy all of the stuff that was in the game. I mean, you're talking about.
So if you paid $2,000, you could. Yeah, it was like be the same as I saw something where it was like how many thousand hours?
I'm not sure, but it was like $2,100 or something $2,200 worth of money to purchase all of the content or whatever is available. And if I remember correctly, what that equaled out to for you to earn it in game, the equal amount that cost the $2,000, the amount of time required would be almost like 2,000 hours or something. Yeah, just a copious amount of time. There's a couple of thoughts here. Of course, I'm not going to sit here and I have sat here before. I'm not going to sit here and promote microtransactions, but I support everybody's right to do so. I think if they can make thousands and thousands, and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars on microtransactions, they are stupid not to offer it. The problem with this time is it appears that they went well over the boundary of pay for microtransactions. They just went over the boundary. People were saying, you bought the game for $60 and you had to spend another like $80 to unlock something that everybody really wanted. It was a extreme amount. Now, I'm just going to give everybody a quick reality check here. You should not have been surprised. This is an EA game. This is what EA does in almost every single one of the games they release. So for people to be so blindsided by this doesn't make any sense to me. Because EA has literally done this time and time and time again with microtransactions. So clearly you must be living under a rock or not know what the hell you were getting into before you purchased Battlefront 2. I see all these people on the internet bitching and complaining about microtransactions. EA literally does this every single game they release. What's the shock? What's the surprise? Like, I don't understand.
I think that some games have figured it out. Like the difference is people are willing to pay for microtransactions to a point when it's cosmetic. And I think that's where people have really become accepting of microtransactions when it's purely cosmetic. The second the crossover, just like in Heroes and Generals, of going from, all right, you can get a different skin for this, you can get a different look for this, or even maybe you can get into a different tier weapon that's not overly powerful, it's just a different kind of weapon, to the point of you can pay money and you can have a better gun than almost everyone else because it's going to take them a week or two, at least weeks, to be able to get to that equal level without money.
Oh, absolutely.
So and I think that's the big changeover is when somebody turns around and this is something that you see a lot in, I mean, the whole Clash of Clans, half of the mobile industry, that's what this is based on is, all right, like the top tier of Clash of Clans, those people put in a ton of money into those accounts just to maintain that.
Yes.
And that's what it's counted on to do that. But I don't want that coming over into PC games personally.
But here's the thing.
That's what drives you away from Heroes and Generals. That's what drives people away from this game.
And neither do I. But the fact, and I understand PH and OC, they're talking about in chat about how, it was map, essentially you needed to unlock characters to play games. I understand that. My point was not that these transactions are okay. It's that EA literally does this all the time with their games. They constantly have incessant microtransactions in their games. This time they just went a little bit over the board, but it's not like this isn't like the first time they've tried microtransactions in their video games. I mean, this isn't new. This isn't news to me that EA screwed people over with microtransactions. Every single time they release a game, the initial reaction is people being all pissed off about microtransactions. It happens every single time.
And part of this is the issue with this is when you have a game that you're already charging AAA prices for, it's not like this is a game like, for instance, TF2, which that is only skins, for the microtransaction, but it's a free to play game. And so they're making their money in the extra microtransactions. But now we have a lot of these games that are $60 plus. And if you want to get the digital deluxe version, $100, and then they're turning around and charging this much for microtransactions. It just doesn't make sense.
But you need to know what you're getting into, Brian. I mean, at some point you need to, as a buyer, you need to use your head and say, EA's had a really bad track record with microtransactions. When I buy a $60 EA game, I'm not buying all the content in the game. You are 100% going to have to pay for more content. It's how it's been in the last couple of games that they've released. Yeah. So know what you're getting into. It's plain and simple. I don't buy a $60 Call of Duty game and then be all pissed off that I don't get the DLC. I know what I'm getting into. If I want to play Call of Duty and the maps, I'm going to have to spend $100 for the season pass. I know what I'm getting into. I'm not griping at Activision over it. And that's not the same example. I understand EA overstepped the boundary, but people need to know what the hell they're getting into. It's the same garbage that when people buy early access games and then complain that the game isn't finished. Use your head.
Do you think that this is, so for instance, with the whole extra DLCs and all this, it moved to, because people were getting frustrated with them putting out so many DLCs that cost $20, $10 here, $20 there, to where they went with the season pass concept of, all right, you pay extra money, you get a season pass to get all the future updates. Do you think we're going to see something similar to that concept, but with all of these other, covering more of this? Where, like, are they going to create a whole nother version of a season pass just for these things?
No, well, I'm not opposed to season pass for all the DLC, but I'm opposed to what EA did, which was essentially charging for characters and to pretty much play. You essentially bought a bare bones game and then had to pay to get the cool stuff that you want, or you could grind it out, but it's just an insane amount of time that it's not realistic. So, no, they can't do another season pass. I mean, I think the industry now is not going to. EA just set the record. They're not. Nobody's going to push farther than EA because literally the internet for days. If you went to Reddit, last week, every subreddit, gaming, not gaming, was ripping EA apart. I mean, literally, like there was the history porn subreddit was posting things from like 1914, and it was people EA killing a whole bunch of people. I mean, it was just. I mean, they were getting ripped to shreds on the internet. Completely ripped to shreds.
Well,
So I'm not, you know,
so this is a temporary. So that's the thing, is this is not a permanent removal. It's not like they're rolling out all content and saying, all right, now, now everybody has access to everything. This is a temporary hold. And do you think it's partially maybe for the movie? Like, what are they holding for? Are they going to restructure all the prices and then come back?
they're going to turn these back
with
on.
something they've,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. But I'm wondering, like, how are they going to change it at that point? Like, how are they going to change it
I have no idea.
to make it more acceptable by the public? They're going to have to
it doesn't
go
matter.
Over, like,
I mean,
they're going to have to go more than they.
It's over.
It's going to be. Let's say they started out originally at a somewhat sane price. I think they're going to have to go below that by a ways just to appease people, because people are so upset about it.
The damage is already done, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, the outrage was so strong from people. I wasn't going to buy this game anyway, but there's not a chance I buy it now. I wasn't the market for it in the first place, but maybe if it was all right, somebody could have convinced me to buy it. But now knowing, the watching this whole thing go on the outside as a spectator with really no skin in the game, there's just not a chance I'll purchase this. I mean, they'd have to literally give it to me for me to play it.
Yeah.
So I did. You know what? Guess what? This is a crappy experience. Some people got burned. A lot of people got screwed. But sometimes somebody has to set the example. And this, I think, was EA. EA went way over the bounds here. I mean, literally putting the entire half the game behind loot boxes and such. They pushed it to a certain level. Clearly, the internet is not okay with that. So now they're gonna cycle back. Plain and simple. Yeah. They're just gonna cycle back.
Well, and I think it would be nice. Because this used to not be a thing. Microtransactions kind of came with phones. Kind of came with the mobile market of.
I disagree with you.
How could we? What before?
I can tell you.
Apps became big.
I can. This is what started. This was what I consider the start of microtransactions, and it was EA as well. I would say around the 2008 to 2010 era on consoles, when you bought a game, there would be a code to play the multiplayer, and they were trying to screw the used game market. Like companies like GameStop selling the game pre-owned. So you would buy the game pre-owned for $40, and it's normally $60, and then have to spend
redeem the key that allows you to play online.
No, because you bought the game pre-owned, so you'd buy the $40 game, and then you'd have to buy a $15 multiplayer.
But I'm saying the original person that bought it redeemed that key.
Exactly.
And then the second person who got it, and now
that's my first recollection.
But if you look at the PC market, that we've already got that in a way. Like you can't right now. You generally cannot resell a PC game. Like it's not a thing that really exists anymore.
No.
And so for consoles, the issue that you run into is, and this is why they require that. This is the one thing that frustrates me about consoles. Unless you buy it on the store, you have to hold the disc for everything, because they don't want somebody renting it, putting it on their console, and then being able to play it again after they return the rent.
It's the key. The CD is the
so there's not really, but that's the thing, is there not really any. I don't see an easy fix for that they can really get around that with a console, because it's just the way the consoles are.
An easy fix for what?
For them, having someone play when they're not supposed to play.
It doesn't happen.
With
it's impossible.
Yeah. Well,
you can't.
With a disc.
Yeah, even with.
So I'm saying is
there's no way to play the game on console. You can't burn your. I mean, you'd have to really go to next level stuff to burn your own. It's not like the Sega Dreamcast where you can just burn a disc on a regular CD. I mean, it's the copy protection is unbelievably complex. So that's not. But I'm saying, we were talking about you asked me what was the start of microtransactions. This wasn't a microtransaction, but it was the first start of, like, you bought the game, but now here there's something or whatever. You've got the game, but there's something else you have to buy to get all of the features. And this really got big with games like FIFA in 2010, 2011, 2012 with buying the packs, the FIFA packs, to unlock the better players and build a better team. So again, who was FIFA? EA. I mean, so again, this is not a shock to me. I've been playing EA games on consoles since with these like, microtransactions things since like 2010. This isn't a surprise to me. When you buy a FIFA game or an NFL game from EA, you're going to have to buy stuff if you want to have the best team. It's just the way it is. It's not a surprise to me. And I just...
Obviously it was making money. So, I mean, they continue to do it. And
because people are stupid.
Grown to where, well, how much money are they're putting a huge amount of budget into these games nowadays. I mean, if you look at games like this, there's just a huge amount of money. It's like making a movie.
Yeah, I kind of disagree though. This is all built off of Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 4. I mean, this is just
as far as the base mechanics.
It's a reskin of Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 4, which is the same thing as the last Star Wars game. Was literally felt just like Battlefield 3 on
So you think they're just going for the easy quick bucks on this?
Well, I don't know I wouldn't say it's an easy quick buck. I mean, there's a lot of detail put into the game, but they didn't start from nothing and build the game up. This is very similar mechanics to the most recent.
I'm just trying to figure out, like, they must view that it's enough, it's worth the gamble to be able to say, all right, here's how much it costs us to make this game. Here's how much we're going to make in sales. We need to make this much more to make it to where it's viable, to where we make the profit that we want to make. Like, what logic are they putting in there to where they're really willing to risk?
This is EA. They don't. I mean,
no logic.
It's EA. I mean, this is my whole thing. It's like when we talk.
Yeah, I don't really play console, so I don't really play EA games because Battlefield I played for a while, but like I don't play these style of games that they make.
I mean, I play I play a decent amount of Battlefield 1. I play it maybe some weeks I'll play it a couple times. Sometimes I don't go 3 or 4 weeks without playing it. But I mean, clearly this is all done by Disney, who is like owns everything now. I mean, they own Star Wars. They have a new movie coming out in December. This is coming out a couple of weeks. The movie comes out, I think, 3 weeks from now or something like that. So, I mean,
I've got my tickets on the fridge.
Well, there you go. I mean, there you go. This is all about creating hype around the new Star Wars movie. Star Wars is arguably one of the biggest franchises out there. I mean, I would put it right very close to the top, if not at the top, in terms of brands that everybody recognizes.
Do you think Disney's coming in here saying, we're not going to let you ruin our name?
Well, I did
put
see
more on the name of the movie.
I did see a story very early in the week that was not confirmed at all, so it's probably fake. So I'll just go ahead and mutter it so that somebody else can tell their friends. But I essentially saw that Disney said, like, cut this crap out, or we're dropping the IP. We're going to can the game. Which they probably
I mean, you won't be able to publish something with Star Wars in it in the future.
Exactly. Which may have been true. Haven't seen anything. But I mean, the outrage. I mean, just the outrage on this was unreal. And again, this is good. This is good that it happened on a game. Obviously, a lot of people wanted to play Star Wars Battlefront 2. But I'm glad that this happened so that somebody else is not going to try this now. Activision and Blizzard are not going to try this, are not going to go to this extreme on their next game because they know what the reaction is going to be. Like, the reaction is going to be outrage on the internet's front. And as it should be, because it's ridiculous. Again, I'm not sympathizing with EA. I'm not saying it's okay. It is absolutely ridiculous what they did. But again, there's a couple things. If people want to buy it, then they should make it. That's the capitalist in me. That if somebody's willing to pay $2,500 to have the best stuff, I can't really blame them for that. I really can't. So you've got that. Again, people are willing to pay, then they made it, but they clearly pushed the envelope too far.
So let's roll this into the next one because this is also about the same company. One of the topics is the same game. Over in Belgium, EA is running into an issue with getting sued over gambling laws.
Yeah.
And this is something where they're looking at this whole crate, rolling and trying to, you can pay to be able to get crates, which we've been seeing all over with H1Z1 and just all these
Overwatch,
these crates that you can buy, and there's a chance which is a form of gambling on the internet. One thing you could look at it and say is they're letting kids gamble. because people are turning around, they're taking these, and if you get a certain skin, that's like a lottery ticket. You can turn around and you can sell it for $40 plus
Yep.
on the internet.
Mhm.
I mean, it is a lottery ticket. And so what they're doing is they're looking at not only EA but companies like Blizzard,
Yep.
who with games like Overwatch, they allow them to people can buy these crates and then they can roll them and they can unlock skins and different things in the game. So actually here's that exact stat. In this article, there's the Star Wars. So it says that with the Star Wars game, it would take at least 4,528 hours of gameplay.
Yeah.
Or $2,100
Hey.
to unlock all of its base content.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, this is something that we've kind of mentioned in the past, and we've seen articles of people discussing it, and they had gambling sites on the internet that were all centered around crates. There was that whole scandal with streamers that had parts in the companies and pretending like they won all this money off of these, or won all of these really expensive skins in these crates on the internet, when it was all faked. And so they were getting people to think, oh, I can win all this, these $400, $500 skins on the internet, because look at this streamer, he did it in like third try, he had it. It's turned into a form of gambling.
I don't think so. I think I completely disagree with you.
You may not do it, but there are people that.
But that's fine.
Look
again.
I think a lot of what drives the China market is this form of gambling.
Then go ahead, let them piss all their money away. It's not my problem. I mean, this is my.
But the thing is, when it turns around and they start restricting what we get because they know that they can put it into those, that's when I have an issue.
I don't care. Frankly, I really do not care. I mean, if
Yeah.
and I see this marketing towards kids, how about you just be a better freaking parent? I mean, how is your kid spending $400 on crates? That your kid doesn't have $400, so you're just being a crappy parent and not dealing with your kid and telling them, hey, you don't steal my credit card and buy $400 worth of stuff. So let's look at the actual base problem here. Obviously, we're not going to get into Brian. My ass would have been beat beyond belief if I would have taken my parents' credit cards and bought $300 worth of stuff on Xbox Live. It would have been the beating of a century. It would have made a movie about it. I don't understand. I really don't understand. When I see this saying, I saw some actor or some actress said, or it was an actor on a late night show, said how his son spent $400 in some game on a phone. Well,
yeah.
How do you not notice that? How does your child spend $400 and you don't realize until after it's done? I mean,
probably have someone else pay their bills.
But it just
auto pay.
But seriously,
if their parents are not paying attention.
There's the problem. The parents aren't paying. I see monitor. First of all, these games are rated M, so you shouldn't be playing it if you're under 18. I mean, there's your first step. So if you're not playing it if you're under 18, yeah, the beating. But it's a parenting problem. It's 100% a parenting problem. You don't want to deal with your kids, so you give them an iPad and they spend $400 on iTunes and microtransactions. Be a better freaking parent.
Who are the people?
Problem solved.
Who are the people that are doing this? Do you think it's mostly kids doing this? Like you and I don't sit here and buy skins and worry about skins. Like we're not tossing the money into this game, but somebody's got to be. Like there's companies that are making tons of money off of these things. Somebody's tossing all these money, and I can't imagine it's all grade school kids.
And that's why I don't care if it's gambling, because if you're an adult with a job and a family and you decide you want to spend all your money on an online video game, then go for it. Go for it. I don't care. I mean, this is why I find all this stuff so stupid. You're either a child and your parents are terrible and just let you do whatever you want, or you're an adult that can make your own decision. If you're over the age of 18 in the United States, you can go to a casino that doesn't serve drinks, and you can spend your entire life savings. There's nobody there to protect you, as they shouldn't be. You're an adult. You can make your own decisions. And I feel the exact same way with this stuff online. If you're a kid...
That's the thing, is they're claiming that this is something where these kids are feeling social pressure to be able to kind of keep up with the Joneses type of an attitude. Is what they're claiming is the reasoning behind this. And I mean, first of all, okay, then have your kids, like, if they're so concerned about keeping up with their friends, I don't know. It's like, just tell them not to invest. Like I'd say, don't play that game anymore.
Why don't you just be a better
The
parent?
whole point of the game is just to squeeze money out of you.
Be a better parent. I mean, the answer is very clear to me. It's very clear to me. Be a better parent. Then you don't have to worry about this. I see this article. It's talking about how the Belgium court is going, saying that it's forcing children to buy. Really forcing children?
Not forcing kids to do anything.
Children that don't have any money and have to go and take the card from their parents to use it. That it's forcing them. I mean, get real. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous.
Personally, I think they should put stronger restrictions. I mean, that's the thing is, I think they should put stronger restrictions to ensure, like, make it more difficult just to spend so much money.
No,
because that's the issue they ran.
No,
but on cell phones, like Google Play has done this, where it requires a password or something.
Every time you do something, same thing on iOS. Every time I make
but how do you stop that on, like, I mean, you could probably set something similar on a console, but what about PC?
Who cares?
Like, if you give your kid the credit card once, it's on the account. Like, maybe they need to put more parental controls to say, all right,
no.
Pop them a notification on my phone and give me permission to do this.
It's not the game. It's the responsibility of the parent to tell their kids, do not use my credit card to buy $400 worth of shit on Battlefront. I had my parents' Xbox credit card on my Xbox when I was a kid. I didn't buy every game that came out because they would have absolutely beaten my ass. Problem solved. So I didn't do it. I would have loved to have been able to just buy every $60 title that came out. It wouldn't have ended well for me. It would not have ended well for me, so I didn't. I didn't need Xbox to put a parental control in front of me. I just needed my parents to say, you can buy a year's worth of Xbox Live on my credit card. They didn't have to tell me not to buy anything else because I knew the consequences. I'm not an idiot. I mean, I have a really hard time to believe that these kids are just going out there and spending hundreds to thousands of dollars on their kids' credit cards. Or on their parents' credit cards, and the parents are so outraged and shocked. I mean, get real. I mean, I hate reading this garbage. This is nothing more than people trying to put restrictions in place to screw regular people. Again, I'm an adult. Yeah. I live on my own. If I want to go and drop my entire life savings into Battlefront 2, EA should absolutely let me do it. They'd be stupid not to let me do that. They'd be beyond stupid to not let me do that. So I just really do not understand.
I mean, they're saying that, they might have to get a special permit just to be able to start selling games in Belgium again.
And by the way, I don't think
they get the gambling license.
Well, by the way, I don't think it's gambling in the first place because you have nothing physical. In some games, you can't sell the skins. I don't think it's gambling at all.
Well, I think some of them are and some of them are. I think that when you get to the point of what, let's say, for instance, H1Z1 got to, those were gambling sites. They were.
Yes, but those
sites were set up in the game wasn't doing gambling as much.
Yes,
the sites were doing gambling.
They go after the sites.
The game.
I mean, don't shoot the messenger. I mean,
but I mean, even if you look at H1Z1, I think they're just the main concern a lot of people have is that whole what the crate is turned into of giving you that. Oh, I'm going to win something type of feel.
Because people like that.
Where they get the exact same feeling out of it as someone who's gambling.
Well, as they do. And that's the goal. Yeah. That's because that risk reward is fun. Everybody, physiologically, everybody likes that. It's exciting. Now, when I think of gambling, if I put $1 in a slot machine and pull the thing, there's a good chance that $1 is gone. When you buy $1 crate in H1Z1 or
you're going to
PUBG,
get something.
You're going to get something. That's why I don't think it's gambling. I mean, when I think of gambling, I think I'm putting this $1 into this machine. It's probably not going to come back out. And I'm going to have to put another and another and another. So
here's the thing is they could turn around and you could say the exact same thing about those little dime machines or, quarter machines where you turn the knob and there's something in a little plastic container that rolls out. You open it up and you don't know what you're getting. I mean, they could turn around at this same logic, turn around and say that's gambling because you don't know what you're getting in there, right?
Yeah.
It could be something that's stupid. If someone could put $100 bill in there for all that matters and say you could either get a $100 bill or you could get a penny and the thing rolls out, oh, you got a penny. They could say that's gambling.
Okay, that's fine. Then everything is anything that you don't know 100% what you're getting beforehand is gambling. If you want to say that, that's fine. But I think that's stupid. I think it's stupid. Yeah. You're not giving Daybreak $10 for a crate and it goes, oops, try again next time. You got nothing. You get stuff. You may not like what you get, but you get something. I don't see that as gambling.
And the thing here, anyone has the option to not play those games.
Bingo.
And if they want to limit their audience to people that are willing to put up with that kind of a culture and that kind of, to play this game, here's what you do. I've not seen anybody go after these phone games, the mobile games, and say, all right, you guys got to shut down because you have to pay this much money to really compete in it. Like, they've left it alone. So
now, for example,
I think it'll be probably similar to that.
I play DraftKings every week. DraftKings is gambling. I put $10 into a couple of games every week, and I lose every single week. But I know full well what I'm getting into. I understand I'm not going to win, at least all the time. But it's not. I mean, I just don't think of the same thing with a loot box or a loot crate or a skin box or whatever it is, because you are getting something every single time. I think that's where my distinction is. And again, everybody has their own opinion. If you think it's gambling, great. If you don't, I just have no interest in there being some type of regulation around what I can and can't buy in a video game. I mean, first of all, most of these games are rated M, which means they should not be played by somebody over the age of 18 by default. So and if you're over 18, I think you're a big enough person that you can make your own decisions. Should I be buying this or not? And yes, I understand
you have the option to ruin your life if you want to.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not like it's ruining your life.
Well, it can. And guess what? If you let it ruin your life, more power to you. I mean, I don't care. I mean, I'm a really not a big fan of restricting what everybody else can do because a couple of people have a problem with it. I mean, just ban alcohol, ban cars. A couple people get killed with cars, ban cars. I mean, it's
really well in the prohibition. With
we're great. Yeah, prohibition was great. Nobody was making moonshine and drinking illegally. Literally everybody was. That's why I'm saying
prostitution went up. Like,
it just doesn't make any sense. I could see if there. I really just don't care. You are an adult. The people buying these games and playing these games are adults. Brian, I don't think you mind me telling this. You paid something in Heroes in General so that we could all play together. Is that correct?
Yeah, I had to pay like $6 or something like that just to open up a slot to be able to have the sixth person in there in our group.
Okay.
Okay,
so you did that. You're an adult, and you can make your own decisions. You decided that $6 was worth whatever the end result was. Is that correct? Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
And more power to you. If you wanted to buy that, I appreciate you buying it. We were able to play together. But again, that was your decision.
Do you think? I think a lot of this comes down to the fact that parents are letting consoles and things kind of be the babysitters, and they're like, "Well, just do your own thing," and it's to where parents are kind of hands off. And I think that's, as you said, it's more the parents that are the issue. Go there and see what your kids are playing. So let them know what they can play. Let them know, like Firebombs, he said, I give my kid $10 a week to use for crates, and he gives them a certain amount. But they have permission to use those crates. He has permission. Here's $10, like your allowance. Personally, I would say I don't want the crates. I'll take $10 and go buy something else when I was a kid. But you know what I'm saying? Like, if that's what's important to him and he gets that's a limited amount, he gets a certain amount and it's not like he's turning around and saying, "Oh, I'm going to sell these skins and make $500." That's not his goal. He just wants to have the cool skins in the game. Yeah. Right. And I mean, that's the whole objective.
I like Jello makes a good point. He says, I think morally it's so wrong, but on a tech level, it makes some good points. Personally, I think it's morally wrong. I think the systems are broken and they prey on people that are weak. But guess what? I'm a very conservative person, a very hands-off.
Exact same thing.
But my whole point is I'm a very conservative, hands-off, less regulation person. That is my general philosophy. If Brian wants to go out and drive his car at 1,000 miles an hour and drive himself into a wall and kill himself, more power to him. I don't have to do that. If Brian wants to jump off a bridge, more power to him. I don't care. He can do whatever he damn well pleases. So, and I feel the exact same way about this. If you want to be a crappy parent,
okay, so let's take a step back though. The thing with like me driving as fast as I want to, it will endanger you. No, me jumping off a bridge example. Is not going to endanger you. But what I'm saying is, this is not endangering anyone else.
No,
I mean, someone going here and spending money on this is not endangering anyone else. Therefore, I don't think it should be regulated.
Yeah, a bad example. My point was, if you want to go ahead and do that, go for it. Go do whatever you want. I mean, just go for it. And it's just the same argument I feel with this. These games are not meant for 8-year-olds to play in the first place. I mean, there's your first problem. Your 8-year-old, in my opinion, 8-year-old kid should not be playing a game like that in the first place. So there's your first thing. And then clearly you have no discipline with your child because they're buying $400 worth of stuff. So again, that is your choice to make. I had my parents' credit card on my Xbox and my Steam account. And guess how many times I bought stuff without asking them? Zero. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Because the credit card would have been removed, and it would not have been a good time. It would not have been a good time. So it was plain.
See, the thing is, if I would have done that, I would have not. I mean, not that I had a console really growing up, but like if I'd done that on my computer, where I went and spent back then, even if it was $50, right?
Yeah,
I would have lost the privilege.
Internet
to play
line cut.
Games.
Modem smashed.
Yeah.
And super.
But
I want to.
I think people just don't want to manage their kids.
Well, I want to make a comment here with Supa. He says, I just don't like premium $60 games, including a free-to-play microtransaction bullshit. Neither do I. I'm not saying that that's a good thing, but if people are willing to pay for it, EA is going to include it. Battlegrounds is going to include it. H1Z1 is going to include it. They'd be stupid not to,
the way to
folks.
solve this is
stop buying. Stop. It's so simple.
If you don't like how they do, if you don't like how they conduct their business, don't buy the game. Buy a game from a company that does it how you like it, and that will adjust the market. That will make companies to realize, all right, this company is making a lot of money, and they're making it in the way that people appreciate. We all have to adjust how we make it. The problem is everybody is still buying all these things and doing all these things and supporting them, even though they say they don't like it. They're still doing it. And therefore, all these other, whatever companies that are willing to do that will do it because it makes money. And the only way you can stop it is by rather than going to legislation and saying you're not allowed to do it, just stop buying those games.
Yeah, it's like,
buy a game that does.
Oh, this game is terrible. Take my money. Oh God, I hate EA. It's like, get over yourself. You're still gonna buy this stupid game. I mean, I literally saw somebody on Twitter that I know personally, used to be a friend of mine, complaining about microtransactions, and I'm friends with them on Origin, and they're playing the damn game. I mean, it's just, you bought the game, dummy. You fell right into the trap. You fell right into the trap. So again, not saying I like what they did with Battlefront 2. I think it's beyond ridiculous and it shouldn't be allowed. But it shouldn't be allowed by the consumers. I don't need a governing body to come in and say, no, EA, you can't do this. Same way with anything else, folks. Vote with your money. Vote with where you spend your money. There's thousands of other video games to buy. Buy something else. Vote with your money. I don't need some group to come in and slam the hammer down on EA. If there's enough outrage, which clearly there was, they dialed those microtransactions back, and I can guarantee you nobody else is going to try that for a while to go to that level because they know exactly what the end result is going to be.
And personally, I hope this kind of cuts the whole market back as far as making them adjust and say, all right, well, we want to kind of keep away from that, not just with EA. But any other games that are doing this, because for me, we're kind of purists when it comes to the games. We play the games and we'll earn whatever we can get inside of the game through grinding, whatever. But we don't put money into it. And so for us, it sucks because we don't want to toss money in there. But you know what? There's probably games that we don't play that we may if they didn't have microtransactions.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So again, the chat really liked that topic. Everybody was all lit up about that, and you know what? If you think it's gambling, that's fine. I completely can see and understand your point of view, your perspective. I'm just not a fan of the groups, organizations sending down legislation to solve problems that the consumers themselves can very easily solve. AKA, do not buy the game. Very simple. Yeah. If nobody bought the game, EA wouldn't try this crap again.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have, they would not have tried. And they won't. Guess what? They're not going to try it again.
Well, but I mean, for how many more games? Like
they'll try it again next time. They'll just dial it back.
Yeah, so I'm saying I think for maybe this one, I think they're going to kind of inch back and see when they start feeling a little bit of resistance.
And guess what's going to happen next time, Brian? Everybody's going to buy the game. Everybody's going to buy the game because everybody's a hypocrite. I'm a hypocrite just like everybody else.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to buy the game. Guess what? I'll be buying the next Battlefield. 100%. I'm part of the problem. But again, I'm not out here, white knighting and just say, "Oh my God, this is the worst. This is a travesty. This is the worst thing in the world."
I can't believe people are doing this.
I know what I got into. I completely know what I got into. I 100% knew what I was getting into. So that was my decision. That was totally my decision. So, and I'll say it again. I'll end with it. We can wrap it up with this. I'll see if Brian's got anything else to add. You've got to make a decision with your wallet. Decide where you want to spend your money. Say, to hell with you, EA. I'm not buying your garbage anymore. And don't buy any more EA games. Sales will fall. Stocks will fall. Board of directors will say, you've got to get your crap in line because nobody's buying our games. That's how you see things change. That's how you'll see a solution to come to a problem. That's when you'll see a solution. Not by buying the game and then bitching on Reddit that it's not, that there's microtransactions. That's not going to solve your problem because they've already got your money. You've been completely gamed by the system. So, I mean, I'll throw it to you, Brian, but that's all I have to say on that.
No, and I agree with that. I think that the biggest thing you can do is just, if you don't like what a company's doing, whether it's H1Z1, I mean, pretty much, look at what we've done. Like we said, we're not going to put any more money into Daybreak, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much because we didn't like how they were running it. And for me to cancel a Humble Bundle monthly, the reason that I stopped it and didn't have one for a giveaway is because I didn't want to show support for a company that operates in that manner personally.
There you go.
And so I showed them with my wallet by not supporting them financially, because that's the only way that these companies continue doing what they're doing. The only way that they exist and that they're able to do any of this is the fact that there's some sort of money coming in. And so if you want to stop a company, stop their funding, and there will be no company. I mean, it's an instant solution.
There you
go. In our market. So, all right. Do we want to roll into the first giveaway?
Wow. Yeah, that was about an hour's worth of ranting.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that's good.
Okay, so this first one I'm going to give away is called Epistory. So let me let me get the link up here. All right. So this will be a 30 points exclamation point giveaway. And it's Epistory Typing Chronicles. And this is one where it's actually teaches you to type better, but it's also a game at the same time. So it's got good ratings. It's a $15 game right now. And it is a multiplayer. Well, actually, sorry, it's not multiplayer. It's a typing adventure action indie exploration game. The overall reviews are overwhelmingly positive, and the recent reviews are very positive.
We are gambling in chat.
We're gambling here.
Oh my God. We're done.
Gambling for
wrap it up.
Gambling with their time.
We're done. End screen.
We don't want to get shut down.
Yeah, program over. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Episode 149 of Infection. I mean, come on, get real. Get real.
Yep. So this is the one that has really good reviews, and it's actually has a nice story to it. You kind of unfold, but you have things coming at you and you have to type before they hit you. So it's kind of like an action game mixed in with typing to improve your typing. So
I like Firebomb.
Fun game.
You should change it to now exclamation point gambling instead of exclamation point giveaway. That would be funny. Not right now, but I think that would be funny. All right. Lockler,
do you have a preference what we roll into next?
Lockler is exclamation point. I should have known what I'm getting into. Yes, that's exactly what it should be. Got a whole bunch of stuff on Arc and a couple bigger things that they changed. You want to roll into that?
Yeah, so let's go and just roll really quickly into the change notes, and then we'll go into the discussion right after.
Oh, okay.
So 273 because these are mostly smaller fixes. 273.692. This was on the 14th. So they fixed downloading dinos beyond a tribe or player's personal tame limit. And then fixed an issue where you couldn't download dinos on PvE servers. And the 273.7, they fixed the INI for the supply crate override. So that's where you can say what the supply crates have. You can set the items in there, and I had an issue with it. They fixed an issue where pain volumes could cause infinite forces on ragdolls and lead to serious physics issues. So overly expensive collision or lack of collision, etc. And then we got 273.74. Implemented turret counter on HUD in preparation for turret count limiting. So clamping how many turrets can be built in an area on servers to dramatically improve server performance. And they have it to where you can actually enable the turret counter HUD on your own unofficial servers by changing a config property. And they show you how to do that in there. We'll have a link to that if you have your own private server. 273.76, they fixed an issue with placing structures in Structures Plus and other mods. And then 273.8 fixed an issue with physics, which may have caused some server performance problems. And that was on November 20th. One thing I did look for aberration. It now has changed on the Steam page to be released in December. So some point in December, they're not giving an exact date, and I haven't seen anything yet, but that's supposedly when they're going to be releasing aberration is sometime in December. So eventually.
Soon TM, as all the kids would say.
There was a note in there that was talking about upcoming turret changes.
Yes.
And this is actually getting a lot of
flack
discussion, and we have a link here of a forum post that has a lot of discussion on this. But what they're going to be doing is I think they're finding that all of these turrets across the server are causing a lot of impact on the server performance. And so what they're wanting to do is actually limit the number of turrets that you can have. They do make a note in here. It says the biggest difference is currently versus early access. Since ARC went retail, we were expecting to see our servers have better performance due to optimizations, better allocations, and usage of hardware, and improved DDoS mitigation. But they said what we have learned is that there has been dramatic change in how turrets are being used on official servers. The fundamental issue is that tribes are not only significantly increasing the number of turrets they use, but reducing the space they occupy so that the server is having to do more calculations in denser areas. In some cases, we've seen as many as 7 times versus the previous server profiling data we had. So it's clear that we need to make a change in regards to how turrets are placed, but we understand that they are an important part of meta game on official PvP servers, and therefore want to give you as much as possible, or as much notice as possible. So this is something they're looking at starting from today on PC and the next week on console. You'll be receiving an update which indicates the number of turrets you can have within 10K units. When you exceed 100 turrets within 10K units, there will be a warning placed on the turret to inform you, so you can make adjustments as necessary. And this is on December 5th. We'll flip a switch on our official servers, which will disable all turrets that exceed the allocated limit. You have from the period from now until then to make any changes you want to avoid your turrets from being turned off. Once the turrets are within the permitted amount, they will function again. So this is something that a lot of people are getting upset about this. But I mean, from you and I having played on other servers, turrets, I think, have kind of been the fallback of what these large tribes are just letting, you can't come close to their buildings. You can't fly over huge areas of land because of these turrets.
Well, I personally,
what's a legitimate number of turrets that someone should have?
I think they gave the example server performance as their reasoning behind limiting the turrets, and that's a lie. The real reason is because the turrets were, in my opinion, so OP that, I mean, they were just massacring anything that can. We had a couple of times when we were playing that you would just be running across the beach and then you just die. You're on a decently strength animal with some decent health, because you were just getting bombarded by turrets and you don't even have enough time to turn around and get out of the way.
7 or 8 of them together, all of those shoot at once, and you're pretty much one shot.
Yeah.
Like you don't have it's not like a warning system. You don't have the opportunity to fly away. They're putting so many in a small area to where all of the plants or whatever are hitting you at once, and it doesn't give you that opportunity to even retreat.
Yeah, and I think that's more probably of what this was than. I really don't buy that it was a server. I'm sure there was some server performance taxing if there was multiple big things going on at the same time. Like if maybe two groups were trying to raid two different people at different times, and all these turrets are shooting. Maybe, but I don't think that happens often. I think this was more of a people are putting 20 turrets next to each other, and it's just annihilating anything that comes near it. And like you said, there's no warning sign, there's no indication. It's just dead.
Yeah.
Like KO, respawn. Your animal's dead.
And I mean, these large tribes, they're saying, well, we don't want this, we don't want that, because some of them will take up whole islands, right? And so they'll just surround the whole thing with these turrets. I don't know that. I mean, I think personally that the 1,000 or 100 turrets is probably a legitimate number. I mean, any base should be able to be protected with 100 turrets. I mean, that's a decent amount.
Yeah, clearly this was just to get rid of the massive amount of turrets that were just annihilating servers, which if I was a very powerful group with a whole bunch of these, I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
But since I'm not, and I'm typically the little guy in this example, I'm all for it.
You're the one being shot.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the one being shot. Of course I'm for this. If I was on the other side, I wouldn't be. I mean, it's the same side of two coins. It's just a perspective.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, you have the option to disable this. If you have your own private server, you can disable this. Yeah. You have nothing holding you back. These are official servers that are doing this, and maybe a default setting is being turned on. But this only affects you on official servers. And I think that they've already let the official servers go far beyond what they needed to in the first place anyways. You have tribes that are unraidable, that are you can't conquer them, right? No matter what, someone can't come in and stop these tribes. I think personally they need to kind of cut everything back anyways. I mean, we had this whole discussion before they released, and what were they going to do? Were they going to wipe servers? Were they going to do all this? I think that this is maybe kind of backing down a little bit, and other than them going through and really restricting the number of dinos, which I don't think is, something that would actually do.
Yeah, realistic.
This is the only way that they can really make it to where there's even a possibility to raid some of these clans. Give them a reasonable amount of turrets.
Yeah,
but I think it does come down. This is probably one of the. They're probably limited on the number of clients they can put on each server, or not clients as far as connecting to it, but the number of instances of servers that they can put. And they want to have aberration. They want to have scorched earth. They want to have all of these on each of these servers. I think they're just finding that they're trying to find like, okay, well, what's causing one of the higher performance impacts on each of these servers? Not that it's a huge problem, but they're wanting to put another aberration on that same server and keep adding more and more to it. So I think it's just a little bit of housekeeping personally.
Yeah. I don't know who this guy is. Falcon posted the link in chat, so I'm not calling this guy out specifically, but I mean, just look at that. I mean, that's just, yep. I think this is what they're trying to negate. And that's like 40 turrets in literally like a little area.
There is an impact of, it's kind of like AI. Like there's things that are happening that will cause, because you got to think, even when someone's not around, if they turn it on to shoot dinos, that's causing activity in that area that normally wouldn't happen. So it's normally a place that would be put in hibernation mode, I think is what they call it. Stasis. Put in stasis.
Yeah.
An area that normally would put in stasis then cannot be, because now you have a dinosaur, it's supposed to be to where stuff's happening there. And I don't know if they truly put it into stasis. Maybe they don't put it into stasis because of these turrets.
They may not. I'm sure there are some performance things with this, but honest to God, I really do believe, and they would never say this because everybody thinks that they wouldn't say it, that it's just trying to negate things like, 3 million turrets, on an island where it literally no way you could ever, raid those turrets or get into those.
Penetrate it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even if you had the best of the best, you wouldn't be able to get past it. So I think that's the main goal. And because I'm the guy getting shot all the time, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But
and I mean, this is the thing: is people are complaining about it.
Well, I can see why they have a valid reason to complain. I 100% can understand their complaint. But when you do see examples like what I posted, it does. I mean, it is a little ridiculous.
Well, people are saying like rip PvP. Great job, devs, for destroying your game. I mean, that's the internet. I mean, that's just how people respond.
Yeah.
I think if they feel like this is better for what they're trying to accomplish in the game, this is closer to what they think will be a better experience in the game, then go for it. I mean, you can't listen to all these people.
Here's the thing.
On the forums.
Well, you absolutely can't because we saw what happens. Daybreak tries doing that all the time, and you talk about a backfire. Guess what? If this doesn't work out, Brian, they can always turn the number back up and allow you to build more turrets.
No.
If they realize we tweaked it down just a little bit too much. Okay, we're going to turn it up. We'll lay in another, 10 turrets, whatever the area is. I mean, very easy for them to tweak. This can be changed at any time. So, I'm all for I'm all for stuff like this. If they find out it doesn't work, they'll flip it back to where it was. Everybody will be happy. Problem will be solved. Everybody will be happy.
Yep. All right, so we want to go ahead and roll this last
the first giveaway.
Well, the last one we just did. Yes. Correct. This one.
I'm sorry.
All right, so let's go ahead and roll this. So OC Diary, congratulations. You have won Epistory Typing Chronicles, and I will send you a key here in just a little bit inside of chat. It'll be in your other, or actually in your messages. It'll be in other. So there's a folder in your Twitch messages, and it'll be under other for some reason because we don't follow each other.
Yes.
That's how it works.
So I think based on last week, and we got a lot of comments based on last week's show about our, I don't know the word to use, this complete destruction of H1Z1, and just I mean it was a pretty brutal show for the game H1Z1. So I think what we've pretty much decided is going forward, we're pretty much just going to cover the news and the things that changed, because a lot of people really don't care. And I heard this from multiple people, that they don't really care about H1Z1 anymore, and they didn't like that we talked about it for literally the entire show. So we heard you. Your voices are heard. We're going to cover the news. We'll read through the news. We'll give a little bit of, maybe a little bit of dialogue, a little bit of comments from the peanut gallery if necessary. But we're really going to, unless there is something massive that really needs, where Daybreak really needs a good beat up from us, we're really just going to kind of keep it news oriented, and we're just going to, just read the news. Maybe, of course, I can't contain myself, so I'll give a little backhanded jab every once in a while. But that's kind of what we're going to do. So to all the people, you've been heard. We'll do our, because it is a broken record. I mean, they do have a point. You could go back and play a show from 6 months ago about H1Z1, and it sounded just like the show last week. It was just, this sucks.
The game hasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the game hasn't fixed itself magically.
Yeah. And I understand that it sounds like, now personally I do it because I think it's fun. But I understand why people don't want to hear that. It's the same thing over and over again. So when there's important stuff to talk about, we will talk about it. We're going to bring you the updates, but we'll try less to do so much of I don't want to spend the entire show. I'd rather spend the entire show on that EA discussion, microtransactions, and gambling. I'd rather talk about that, spend the show on that, than on H1Z1. So without further ado, we will jump into H1Z1 here. This is the update that they are putting out on, or that they put out on the 17th. So there are a couple of new things in here. The first thing, one of their new features, and this is for H1Z1, which formerly was King of the Kill, so the shoot 'em up kind of arcade game. They now have a new game mode that is designed for practicing combat, kind of, and we talked about this a while ago, having a game mode like this. So essentially, you spawn in with a full kit ready to go. You respawn after the deaths. There's no parachuting. The game takes place. It's in a small map, and it's a 55-player game, and the game ends after an hour. So, if, for example, somebody like me that would haven't played the game in a while, want to see how the AR acts now or how the shotgun acts, you just go into this and it's kind of like a Call of Duty, essentially. Yeah, it's essentially like a Call of Duty. You just kind of run and gun, and it's combat zone. It's meant for you to test out the guns and other things like that. So that's very cool. Big fan of that being in the game. Another new feature they have in here is daily challenges. Wink, wink. The new Call of Duty. They've added some daily challenges to the game, with the primary reward being skulls. So
they took away that betting. There was pretty much a thing where you would bet on your game before, where you'd say, I'm going to bet 100 crowns. I'm going to bet 100 whatever. And it would then, if you got in a certain placement, you'd get some of that back. So now they're actually creating goals that you can accomplish.
Yeah. And and they go through a couple of the daily challenges, which I think are really cool here. So they say that there's one, it's called Halfway There. Place in the top 75 of solo match. The match has only got 100 people. So place in the top 75.
So just don't die on landing and you're set.
Pretty much. And they say that's an easy challenge. And for anybody that's played the new Call of Duty World War II, there's similar things. Win a match of TDM, win a match of Capture the Flag. Incredibly simple to do. Then they have another one here, their medium level one called Doomed, which is destroy 10 helmets worn by other players. Domed. Destroy 10 helmets worn by other players. That's a medium challenge. Okay. So, yeah, again, Call of Duty's got the same thing. Yes, and of course, PH is sponsored by Call of Duty. And then they've got their final one, their hard challenge, which is one shot, one kill, which is kill an opponent with a 308 sniping rifle, which, if you're familiar with the game,
you have to pretty much get through a crate. It's difficult to get.
Very difficult to get. And then you've got to kill somebody with it. So they've got the different challenges here, daily challenges. My opinion, this is just a straight directive of what Call of Duty just implemented, which I think works out really well. For example,
visually, it looks very similar as well. I mean, they're doing a lot of the same.
And it's effective.
And it works.
Because for example, and it's totally off the H1Z one, but last night I played a match of a Capture the Flag and a match of Domination. I would never have played either of those game modes, but I played them because there was a daily challenge for them. And it very effective at doing that. For example, this would make me try to go and get one of the supply drops, the crates, because hey, if I get this crate and kill somebody, I'm gonna get however many skulls the reward would be. It's a hard skull. I would imagine there's gonna be a decent reward for that. I would never think about going after one of those crates. I would now in game if I played. But those are two new big things. So we've got the new features here are the combat zone, the new daily challenges, and they've done a couple of things to as you know, any early access game, H1Z1 included, constantly is working on combat and gunplay and gameplay tweaks. So they've slightly decreased the AR-15 recoil reset time to give the user a more responsive 2 taps, which is pretty much how you kill people is with 2 taps, or you'll get killed before that.
They kind of got away from that with that previous combat update, and I think that they found that people enjoyed that satisfaction of having the 2 tap.
Yeah. So that's essentially 2 taps are back. They reduced the AK-47 fire rate to help alleviate close quarter spammability, which is good. They added a fix for non-rotating some shotgun damage stuff. Bullet drop has been reduced for pistols and rifles. And they go on. There's a couple of other things. Fall damage should be more significant. Should be more consistent now. Explosive arrows are now very effective against vehicles. It's not possible to loot while reloading. The 5th passenger can now reload and shoot. Be careful with that. Maybe a little bit of PUBG in there. Fuel is now consumed slightly faster when using turbo. Again, the goal with this is to kind of kill out all the vehicles by end game. And then there's some other match pacing and tuning things, some updates to the arena, and then just a whole bunch of...
I mean, I think the big thing is they made it so that first zone comes in at 45 seconds rather than 2 minutes.
And we talked about all this stuff before.
Going. Right? Yeah, I mean, I think that's important for this type of a game because there's so much downtime. That's one of our biggest complaints that we had from when King of the Kill was released.
Yeah, was
just us sitting in bushes and waiting for the zone to go somewhere and just not seeing anybody. I think that they can get away with a much faster, because when you land, you pretty much get gear. Almost. I mean, if you don't get a rifle within the first 30 seconds, you're like, something's wrong with the game. So people have it. So I think that for them saying, okay, get that first zone in, it doesn't have to wait 2 minutes to start. because even after that it starts, it takes a while for it to get in. So I think them getting this pacing it matches a lot more of the pace of the game and the kind of arcadey pace of the game anyways.
Yeah,
So
no, I agree with you completely, and I think we've talked. They announced these changes. I think now that it's actually implemented. So
they put it on test.
Yeah. Okay. So the first zone is 45 seconds. The gas begins moving after 2 minutes and 15 seconds instead of 4:30, and then it moves slightly slower over 5 minutes instead of. We talked about all these changes in the past. So the zones are just a little bit different than they used to be, which is good. It should make for a much faster.
It'll speed up that beginning game. Doubles the pace of it.
Yeah.
In the beginning time, so which is good. I think it'll be good for the game. Make it more streamable. I mean, part of it is having all that downtime makes the game less streamable. They want the games to be faster paced so that people will get on there and always have action. I mean, there's certain streamers that are able to go in, like Dr. Disrespect. You can make it entertaining, but most people that go in there, like, you're not seeing people all the time. There's a lot of running around, looting, and doing nothing in this type of a game. So,
yeah, there you go.
All right. So, and then we have links to each of the pages. So if you want to go read more into that, we've got links in our notes that has all about the daily challenges, all about the preseason 7.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention
and the payload.
New preseason. Yeah. 7 now. We've had 7 preseasons.
Well, we had talked about it coming, but yeah, so they're doing the preseason 7. They've adjusted the tiers so to make it's more difficult to get royalty because they were finding that there were too many royalty before. So they're adjusting it to where it should be a lot less royalty. It actually should be something special to have now. And then they released a new crate, which I've seen teasers of some of these images, like with the chicken suit. I think we saw something about that a long time ago. But they have now what they're calling the payload crate, which is kind of just a hosh-posh of random. I mean, it's got a pony, pretty much a My Little Pony, Rainbow Unicorn, AR-15. Well, we've seen the toxic guns, but now we had the toxic shotgun before. Now they have the toxic AR-15. They have this Mask of the Harvester, which is kind of like a denim red plaid, type of a mask, which is a reskin of one of the previous ones, the Thanksgiving one, the black and chicken suit, and then it looks like mainly just reskins of the kind of existing things. So kind of a weird combo. It's like a little bit of everything.
It is a little bit of everything. Everything is very vibrant in it. I'll give it that. Everything is, there's a lot of very, pretty bright colors, I guess is the best way I could describe. It's just a lot of bright colors. So yeah, new crate. If you're interested, go play the game, get a couple of them, open them up, and you'll be all set and ready to go. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Now, one thing, let's jump into Just Survive since we are talking about Daybreak. On the 20th, so this was yesterday, they put out an update and they were talking about Z1 and more. So yesterday they had a large update that they rolled out. Now you have the ability to choose your map. So servers are now marked with either Badwater Canyon or Anywhere USA, which is Z1. Base foundations are now free placeable and snap together. Raids are no longer timed. Destruction is permanent, and shields have been removed. So it's pretty much back to the old base rating. Now it has the modular, from what I can tell, there's still the modular type of base building, but you can pretty much just place a foundation now and build it with that.
So they literally got rid of everything that they talked about for the new base
pretty
system.
Much.
I'm just clarifying that. Literally everything.
I mean, they still have the modular system to it, but they've gotten rid of all of the time base rating, like all the stuff to do pretty much cheating mechanics that we were talking about in there before.
Gone.
It seems like that's all been rolled back.
Okay.
So it's back to that. Now they on here, pretty much the legacy map Anywhere USA is now playable on Z1 mark servers. And so you'll see, it'll say Z1 or Anywhere USA. And then you'll see the same thing for Badwater Canyon. says trees, rocks, and cars on Z1 have been updated to use Badwater Canyon harvesting mechanics. So you'll have some kind of a mixture of mechanics from the old and the new in this. So if you want to go check that out, that is on live now. So this is no longer test. This is on live. So you should be able to go in and run around and play on the old map with the new base building, which, you know, some people will enjoy.
Yeah, exciting. I'm excited.
All right. So let's talk about the forest, since we've this is a game that we were actually talking about at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, I haven't talked about this in a little while. It's been.
Yeah. So what they've done is this is 0.70. This is their latest patch, and they've added a new recipe system to it. So now they have a thing where you can cook food. They've also added new swimming animations into and out of caves. So when you're in the water, they said that the gamepad. So if you played with the gamepad on this, maybe if you're playing on a Steam controller or something, or, you know, on Steam Link, they've really improved the gamepad controls. So they said you should try that out. Should be a lot easier to use that. One thing also they've been doing is focusing on the LODs, which is level of details in the game. And just I'll go a little bit technical here, just for, you know, because not everybody may know exactly what all that means. So the LOD is where on a model, which is an object in the game, you can say when someone is really close, the model is really clear. Like all the details there, it's very high detailed. But then as you back away farther and farther, you can't see all the detail that normally be there, just like your eyes can't when you're looking at something. And so when it gets farther away, they put another LOD at a certain distance to where it's only got as much detail as what you're able to see. And so they adjust those because you don't want to have everything in the world, maybe something that's really far away. You don't want it rendering all those little details, because it'll cause a huge impact performance on your computer when you're trying to play this. So they've gone through and adjusted the trees and items and try to make it to where they could just get as much, because this is something we really ran into, as performance on this game. Performance was a really tough thing, especially when you got a bunch of people playing. So they've adjusted that. That should really help increase frame rate. So if you had a low frame rate before, it should go up. For enemies, they've tweaked the AI so that when the player is already surrounded by a group of enemies, other enemies that enter the area will tend to keep their distance away from it. So that way you're not just getting hammered by every single NPC or AI type of element in the game, because people are getting swarmed with too many cannibals in the game. And also it just through the notes, they fixed a number of multiplayer issues. They had a number of performance issues, and then just fixes. And so if you play this, it's probably about maybe 3 pages of fixes that they've done on this page. So I would encourage you to go check it out. If you haven't played the Forest in a while, I'm not saying go play it this week, because maybe it would be a best thing for people to go and experience it together with us when we get on here and play as a group. Maybe we'll try to get as many people as we can on one server and try it out. So that was 0.70. And then they put out 2 hot fixes, 0.070B, which just had a number of multiplayer fixes, and then some hydration problem where drinking boiled water from pots was not providing hydration, little fixes like that. And then they put one out today, just actually a little bit ago, 0.70C, where they're doing a performance fix. And then they fixed a train collision issue where that was not loading correctly when inside of a cave, when a game was saved inside of a cave. So that puts us current, but this is a game that's really a fun game. It's got nice graphics. There's a good story to it that we've not even really gotten to in it. So hopefully when we get to playing this as a group, we can get everybody together and kind of continue the story and get some nice, because it's got a really nice base building system to where you go and you pretty much make what you want to have beforehand, and it kind of has a kind of a clear version of that base.
Yeah, essentially what it does is
your whole group, they're able to come in and bring the materials.
It essentially creates a ghost image of what you're going to make, and as you bring the supplies to it, it builds. It goes through it. It builds up the entire thing. So it creates like a blueprint for what you're going to do, and then as you add, for example, a treehouse needs wood. As you add wood to the treehouse, it builds up the walls.
So people can haul it in there.
Yes, it's very.
And then it'll start to build it over time. So you can go through and say, all right, here's the base that we want, and then people can keep working, even if people log off. Like everybody can still keep contributing to making that happen, which is a pretty neat mechanic. You don't tend to see that.
Well, and they do something
in
that
other survival games
that is very psychological, which is it constantly looks like you're making progress. If you need to build a base in H1Z1, you just need to put a crap ton of materials into chests. With this, you're instantly loading the materials into the structure that they're turning into, which I think hooks you. It makes you just play because you're like, oh, I'm so close, Only I can
just get a couple more logs.
Exactly. And you just keep doing that over and over again. Unlike H1Z1, it's like, there's enough in the chest. I'll more tomorrow. And I'm just using H1Z1 as an example. But any game that doesn't, which I don't know of any other game that's doing that to the level that the Forest is doing it. It's a very psychological thing, which is very effective. Very, very effective. So you could tip our hat to.
So
to
hopefully we'll get a chance to play that here in the next couple of weeks. I'll throw a server on there and then we'll give it a try, see how it runs, see if it's at the point where it's playable in that way. So a game this week that I played that actually I was very surprised. I played some of the Black Death this week. And this is that game that I bought based on Green Man Gaming's, not Green Man Cartoons, but Green Man Gaming's, the website. They kind of pushed this. It was a game that they were backing from what I could tell. And when I got in there was just nothing there.
Shocker.
It was pretty much an empty world. There was nothing to do.
Is this the game I think
they put out?
Is this a game where you could not interact with? There was like doors and stuff, and just none of it worked.
Yeah, like I didn't realize that there were even like people inside of the buildings because I couldn't open any doors, things like that.
Solid.
And so I went in and played some of it this week, actually over the weekend. And they've definitely been making a lot of improvements in the game. It's definitely to a point where there's like, you feel like there's something to do, like you're trying to accomplish something. And there's still that point on this one where it's kind of like, there's games where it's just like that grind of, man, it takes so much work to get there. Like I die before I actually accomplish anything. It's kind of at that point right now where I'm just trying to eat food and drink water and not die. But it's still like, I don't know enough about the game to like get past that point because I can never find a constant source of water, a constant source of food. And that's something where I think that maybe if it's with experience, or maybe they're just continuing to add more things into it, but it was a lot more fun. I was running around. There's stuff in the world. You can fight NPCs. You can make weapons, like all that stuff is there. And they actually have a story, kind of like introduction story that you go through and play now, which is pretty cool. But this is a new fix that they put out. One thing that, just for people that don't know, on this update, they put it to Unreal Engine 4.18, which is pretty much the latest current version of Unreal. So they're keeping totally up to date. I mean, this is Unreal 4.18 was released like 2 weeks ago. Okay. And so these guys are really keeping up with the latest versions. They fixed a lot of crashes and things like that. They added permission systems to house workbenches. So you can make a list of people that are allowed to use your doors and use your workbenches and things like that. Kind of like a clan system in a way, but you can have, so you and a friend can maybe buy a house and then you can both work out of that house. They have like, this is really a game that is tailored, I think, to role players. It's like, for instance, they have a new knock on the door animation. You can go through and knock on the door. Which is really a role player's thing. Like there's not really a reason to use that. And they said they removed the house door or codes and locks from the game. It's been replaced by a permission system. So now pretty much similar to permissions for using the benches. Everything now uses a permission system, which I think is the better way to go. And yeah, it's just, as I said, pleasantly surprised that the game seems to be playable. it's similar right now, I think, to Life is Feudal, in that type of a grind.
So I've got
of what the game is.
I've got the important question for you then, Brian. As I look, this game is $19.99 on Steam. It has a 6 out of 10 rating. In the last 30 days, 62% of the reviews have been positive. Is this game worth $20 at this point in time?
I think right now it'd be worth probably like $15.
So if it's ever
just to
on
put
sale.
a dollar amount, if it's on sale, I'd say it's worth it. The problem right now is there's not enough people that have it. If this were a game that everyone had, like let's say there were 10 people that had this game, I think we would enjoy it. The problem is I'm one of the only people that have this game, and so there's no one for me to go play with.
Yeah, which just sucks. Makes multiplayer games very tough. Makes them very, very tough.
And so, but I think there's enough in there to where there would be some really cool things that we would enjoy doing if more people had this game. But the problem is people don't, and so that's why I say if it's on sale, get it, because there's enough solo play stuff in there to enjoy yourself. But if more people had it and people are actually playing together, it would definitely be worth the $20.
Well, there you go. Heard it here first.
But because there's not enough people to play in there, as I said, $15 you'll get enough out of it for solo play. Plus, they've been putting out very consistent updates to it.
It's important.
That's one thing. Initially, I think they pushed it out of the door too early, but now I really think that they've got the ball rolling and they're actually putting out very consistent. I mean, every few weeks they have updates for this.
And this may be a broad statement that's maybe I'm out of touch with it, but it did appear when this game came out that they were maybe a little strapped for cash and just needed to.
I think they were really wanting to get funding. But the thing is, I think that's what really killed it, because people logged in and they were expecting something to be there and there was nothing there. And if they would have just waited 6 months and had some of the features that they had now and then released, I think they would have been in a much better place.
And that's what's so tough, because as I look at it now, this game has been out since April 19th of 2016. So you're going on, going on a little over a year and a half. It'll be 2 years coming up here, early next year. But 61% of the reviews are positive. So you're 60-40 in terms of reviews. Is the damage is the ship sailed? Is the damage already done? Is this something that they can recover from?
And that's the good question. Can they get enough interest in it renewed again? And the thing is, their last 2 patches that they've done, the last 2 patches were pretty amazing. And so with this whole, I think they've really gone for the theme of the Black Death, with those masks that the old during the Black Death, those masks that they used to wear that look like the crow's nose, like kind of going with that whole feel. I think they've done a good job of trying to capture that and give you that sense in the game. I think if they can get enough of that unique feel like that people will really take to it. It can't just be another generic game. But I think that they've done that. Like there's this whole thing, just to kind of give you what that intro quest was. They had it to where this guy sent me, he says, I want you to go and inspect this rat. There's this rat that died of the plague in here. I want you to go. And so I only have limited tools. Like I can look at it and like give my perception, but as you progress in the game, you can become like a scientist or whatever. And so you actually have tools. You're able to make different, you can find more out about it, of the same situation. So as you progress through the game, it gives you the ability to do different things. So it's kind of a unique progression system too that they just released. So I think we'll have to see in about 2 months from now where those ratings are then, because they've had 2 big updates that really put a lot of content in there and gave it kind of that unique feel, really fixed the UI. So I think people giving reviews based on the last 2 patches worth will be more the telling story of whether this game's going to make it or
not. Because you were playing it, I think it was Saturday. We chatted a little bit Saturday morning. You were playing. I was playing, of course, some lovely Team Fortress 2 with a bunch of 8-year-olds.
Yeah.
As I do on a Saturday morning, and I went back and I looked at a couple of the videos from it. It looks like with the right player base and the right amount of work, it could be a really cool, fun, legit game. But all that's
it's a
kind of up in
game
the
that
air.
kind of has an economy. It's made to have people. people buy the houses and they kind of create an economy in the game. And so without the people in there right now, it's kind of a tough, like, what do you do? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's missing the people part. And so they really need to get that in there, to where you'll get the actual, what you appreciate out of the game. Like, it'll be more enjoyable at that point. So we'll see. As I said, I've been really impressed with what they've been being able to put into it so far in the last couple weeks, or the last couple patches. And I think that they've got the funding that they need now, or I don't know what it is, but they're actually putting out pretty regular content, and it's enough to where you would have more than you could do. Like, you're not going to run out. You're not going to hit the peak level of content in a week. Like, you can actually go in there and play for months, and and maybe you'll go through all the content in that amount of time.
Yeah.
So it'd be worth it, whatever, people decide they want to try it.
Yeah. So
And
now,
if they do, let me know. Like, we could jump on a server and play together, because as I said, right now I don't have anyone to play with.
yeah. So obviously, as Brian said, $15 is probably worth it. Now I would say it's probably the point to add to your wish list. I just added it to mine. So if it goes on sale, you will get an alert, an email, a ding on your phone telling you that, hey, it's on sale, which will,
And these guys, I mean, that's the thing, is they've proven that they're not just dropping it off. Like, because with the really bad start that it had, a lot of companies would turn around and said, let's just move on. Right. And these guys didn't, and they're, now they're starting to get the real content in the game. So obviously they're willing to stick through the bad times. And I think now they're going to start having good times. So hopefully it just makes it pick up even more.
Yeah. Again, it looks like with the right amount of time and the right amount of players,
Been excellent.
I mean, it's like a blossoming flower. I mean, it really, if that stuff is worked out, I think we'd be in a pretty good shape for a fun game. Like, similar to something like Miscreated or The Forest, where it's not going to have a huge player base, but it'll have a consistent player base. When you play it, you'll have a good time and it'll be fun. That's how I feel with that's. I think it's in that level.
Yeah, and this could definitely be that.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's definitely what it is. And there's different classes that you can pick, so people can be different things and do different things. It's got the whole aspect of farming, buying a house. It's got a lot of things that our kind of group enjoys. So we'll see if we can get into it.
Yeah.
All right. So okay, I was just seeing where we're at on time. Let's go ahead and talk really quick. 20 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's jump down to Miscreated, because this is something that I know is near and dear to your heart.
Of course. I appreciate you, Brian. You're a good friend.
And so they actually have added, or they're testing adding extreme weather into Miscreated.
Yes.
And so this is a video. You're going to have to jump around in it.
I'm in the middle of what I believe is the
But they have, first is the nuclear flash freeze.
Yep.
And then they have extreme cold and darkness, which is maybe where you're at now.
There's a thunderstorm in this part. You see it kind of flickering in the background.
Okay, so yeah, it goes nuclear flash freeze, and then extreme cold and darkness with radiation, and then ash floating around. Let's see. Okay, so that's the nuclear flash freeze. That's extreme cold and darkness with radiation and ash floating around. So that's that first one, right?
Yep.
Then they have the radiation dust storm, which is extreme radiation and low visibility, which is maybe the one you're on now?
I think that's what I'm on now.
Okay. And so the new patterns have a short 1 to 3 minute warning period, as you can see the video, and we'll also have some additional audio indicators depending on map position and equipment. And it says one will die outside unless they use protective gear, seek shelter indoors for a little protection, or better, go underground into caves, sewers, and bunkers for full protection. So this is something they're testing, putting in the game so that there's actual like world weather events that happen.
Yeah.
So this is inside of Miscreated, which is kind of unique. I mean, because right now it's just people running around and doing whatever. Like, you're never really forced by the world to do anything.
I like it.
So yeah, so this will make it so where you'll have a little bit of notice, and based on whatever is happening in the world, I wish they would kind of tell a little bit more of the story of why there are zombies running around, and like hopefully, if they're going to be doing this, like what caused, it's got to be some sort of a nuclear bomb, right? Because they're talking about nuclear flash freeze, radiation. Everything seems to be kind of circled around some sort of a bomb happening. So hopefully this will be kind of an intro to them, maybe telling a little bit of the story of the world and miscreated and why we have. I assume the zombies are more radiation, people that were affected by radiation, less being zombies. So yeah, there you go. So you can see there's the radiation dust storm.
Is that what this is? Yeah, I don't know what that middle one was. It
Yes.
just looked like a regular thunderstorm, but yeah, this is the.
I think it was just a transition.
Interesting
between them.
So this is a good radioactive storm here, and then
yes, and so that will kill you if you don't go inside. Yeah. So as Falcon said, they're not zombies in this; they're actually mutants.
Yes.
Which is why you see mutant dogs and everything else. Everything's
Absolutely.
affected by radiation.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
Anyway, so that's miscreated. That came across to the feed. I figure you might appreciate that.
I did appreciate it.
Our weather guy.
I watched the entire the video before the show and then just watched it again. So.
Nice. All 13 minutes of slight weather change.
And let me tell you, like, this isn't doing it justice, but especially this night scene, I think it's a little easier to see. Let me try to find my scrub point. You can see these little things floating around, the particles. This is a very, very pretty game. It's not the easiest to do. I'll post a link in the chat here. But the game is beautiful. It has a lot of really cool stuff. Watch that. I posted a video in chat. Pull up that video on another tab and just watch the particles fly around. It's a very, very aesthetically pleasing game. I remember the first time we played it and it rained, blown away because the way that the water was puddling on railings and on concrete steps and on the ground and in the road. It's like something I'd never seen before in a game like this. And I mean, it was just really, I mean, honestly, I was taken aback by how I literally was freaking out over how raindrops were falling. And you would think, so what a stupid concept. They do it in all the AAA games, but this was one of the first, like, crazy. This was one of the first early access survival games where you went, holy crap, this is like The Last of Us, like, level in terms of rain. When, all of the surfaces are wet and slick and you can see the rain puddling up. It's very impressive. It's very, very impressive.
Yep.
So, hell of a job by the miscreated team there on that.
Yep. So, very good. All right. So, Unturned, they put out kind of a smaller patch this week. It's 3.21.3.0. And one thing they did is they added trunk space to all official vehicles. So, you can now store things in the vehicles. And then they added vehicle explosion force option for bicycles. So, I don't know exactly what that is. One thing that I was going to make a note here, he says the next 4.x dev blog. Lots of more progress this week. I've been excited seeing your responses to the first dev blog and taking into account all your feedback at this early stage. And this is talking about the 4.x, the 4.0 version of Unturned in the future. The next post will probably be sometime next week. So if you're looking, he does have a blog that you can go and check out information on the upcoming 4. Whatever versions of Unturned that he's going to be putting out. But other than that, with the vehicles, it's mainly just fixes. So, hopefully, we'll see. Hopefully, I don't know exactly what he's planning on the 4.0, but I think he was talking about maybe visually improving it a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see what he's going to be going for. And if it's going to be a forced update, I know you got to be careful about changing stuff too much where you leave. And I think he talked about this a little bit, leaving the original feel of the game behind, even though you have the capability of making something maybe more detailed. If it doesn't match the game, you don't want to do it. So it'll be interesting to see where he's going with on that.
Yes. And I think if my memory serves me correctly, we will be playing Unturned somewhat soon. I think, according to our, I don't know exactly when, but it's on the list of games that we will be rotating through. And Brian and I kind of talked about this a little bit, kind of segueing off Unturned. Around Christmas, we might have a couple of weeks where we don't do an official one because I don't want to. because, I mean, you think about it, all of the different games that we play, it takes a while to get through all of the different games that we play. And I don't want to do a game of the week when nobody's around. Even like this Friday, like, I don't know if I'm going to be here. So there may not be a game, probably the week before, obviously, maybe the week of Christmas or something like that. So there may be a week where we'll just have everybody just say, hey, we're going to play, everybody just kind of hang out. We'll figure out what we want to play. But we'll probably be skipping a couple weeks of having like one official game to play. So just kind of keep that aware for anybody and everybody that's playing at home, so keep aware of what's going on. So yeah, that's
very good.
Yeah, that's what's going on with Game of the Week.
All right. So other than that, we have our Rust video, and there's a game called Sarion, which I'm working on getting them onto the show. This is a project that I kickstarted, and this is one where it's more of a dinosaur survival game, not in the way that Ark is a dinosaur survival game. This is one where you are actually the dinosaur. And so you start out as a baby dinosaur, and you have to survive and grow, and try to become an adult dinosaur without dying. So, and it's a very difficult game because you have to go find food and you have to protect yourself. And so this is one where initially they released one dinosaur. They've been adding more dinosaurs that you can be, but these ones they're trying to keep very true to people that are maybe into dinosaurs and into that whole scene of actually having everything be very realistic. So I do have this, and I was wanting to get them on the show, and they did agree to come on the show. We just got to arrange a time to be able to do this and do an interview with them. So yeah, this is they've been doing optimizations, adding more dinosaurs to it. So this is the game. Maybe we'll get some video or some things that people can see it in the future, because I've just pretty much have played this myself some, but I haven't really shown anyone or taken screenshots or shown anybody what it's like. So I'll have to log back in, give it a shot, maybe take some screenshots so people can see what it's like.
Now you mentioned that we got nothing else besides the Rust video. I do want to mention that the Life is Feudal MMO is very close. I'm trying to pull up. We got an email today about her yesterday. Of course, my email.
They said it'll be like in a week or two, I think, like in a couple weeks.
Yeah, great timing on that. I wish I could tell you my email client decides it wants to crash. But we got an email today or yesterday about this, about the Life is Feudal MMO. I guess it was delayed on Steam.
An issue with the client.
Okay,
is that with the Steam client, or the one that was released on Steam. So it'll be like a week or two. They're just getting that fixed.
Gotcha. So
I think it's at the beginning of December.
Okay, so expect that. I believe we're gonna have a key to give away for that. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, because they gave us one
two
for us and then one to give away. I should be getting one because I own the game, so I should already be getting access to the MMO on mine anyway. So we should have one to give away at that point.
So look for somewhere around probably a couple weeks before Christmas. Expect a key for the Life is Feudal MMO, which we don't have any idea what that is going to be like. So yeah,
just seen some videos here and there. It's supposed to be huge. I mean, it's going to be a crazy game, and they've been working on this for quite some time.
Oh yes,
so I'm kind of excited to see what it's going to be like, because Life is Feudal Your Own is a huge game by itself, and that was just them releasing and kind of testing mechanics, like part of the game. And then they had Life is Feudal Forest Village, I think it was called, where it was kind of the overhead view of managing the village. So I think in the MMO, they have it where you actually have you have your character running around and doing things, but then I think you can manage like a town through some whole different view. Like they were just testing different pieces of it, and they released those as separate games. And now this is everything where with a map, they can hold 10,000 people.
Yeah. Like a legit MMO.
So it's going to be pretty crazy. Yep. So it'll be fun to see. We'll have to get in there and give it a try.
Absolutely. So look forward to that here in a couple of weeks. We will we'll be talking about that. So you want to jump into Rust here?
Yeah, let's go and do Rust, and then we'll announce the giveaway right after that. And then we should be wrapping it up.
All right, so this is Rust devblog number 186, and for some reason I am having to find my video. And there it is. All right, so this is Rust devblog number 186. It's a couple minutes long. Watch the video from, of course, from Shadowfrax, and we'll be back after that. We'll be wrapping up the show.
Greetings survivors and friends, Shadowfrax here with your weekly bag of Rust news nuggets, and I have a question for you. If a tree falls in the forest and nobody's around to hear it, will they still complain about it on the subreddit? Absolutely. Ain't nothing gonna stop that. But, of course, since we received the Ore Node minigame a while back, Rust players everywhere have done nothing but pine after a decent tree harvesting one too. Yeah, well, anyway, now you've got one. When going at a trunk with your chopper, you'll notice that an invisible Forestry Commission employee with a spray can is following you around and showing you the optimum spot for your next thwack. Of course, it's up to you whether you'll play his little game, but you'll probably notice that now each hit is giving back less wood than you're used to. The reason for this is that as of this update, you'll receive half whilst harvesting, and the rest when you actually finish the job, and you'll know when that happens thanks to the ultra-realistic tree falling over and disappearing into the ground animation that follows. Shouting timber is of course optional, but a few things to note. Firstly, this effect is purely client-side, so doesn't impact the server or anyone else. Sadly, that means no chance of crushing other players or using it as a raiding mechanic. Sorry. Secondly, the minigame only applies to bigger trees. It would look a bit silly on the small matchstick thin ones, as they're virtually two-dimensional anyway. And thirdly, trees can be destroyed by explosions now. Huzzah! The sounds are placeholder at the moment, whilst some with the correct timber are made, but otherwise this is done, and another item ticked off the roadmap. Last week's update did cack a few things up, sadly, affecting saves on a number of servers. You can read the post-mortem about that, and I'll put a link to it down below for you. However, just like Jenga on a trampoline, stability was also a bit of an issue. This was mostly thanks to hair, which impacted both visuals and performance. For instance, beards were magically disappearing, and there was a bit of a memory leak. The new TSSAA anti-aliasing caused a bit of a kerfuffle too, with black sludge artifacts affecting some players, although this was fixed early on, along with a number of other bugs, which should hopefully all now have been squashed. A problem with motion blur popping up on players when LODs are swapped in and out was fixed too, although this did take quite a chunk of time, but is sorted now, as you can see here, and some more textures were downscaled to save about an extra 100 megabytes of GPU memory. You may remember last week I spoke about some new changes to building that'll be crawling over the horizon soon. Well, this week we have a little more detail. To recap, when it happens, tool cupboards will no longer emit a building privilege zone in a radius around them. Instead, the building blocks themselves will do this job, as long as they're connected to a tool cupboard somewhere, which also means you should only need one of them. This system will also track any other entities that are connected to the building, such as campfires, workbenches, boxes, furnaces, etc, etc, so buildings will sort of be self-aware of themselves. This will also be necessary in order to calculate upkeep costs, which will of course scale depending on the size of your operation. Exactly how much this will be though remains to be seen, so don't have a crap attack about it just yet please. I also mentioned how new building blocks were in the works, and for a starter it seems like we'll be receiving half-height walls and the long requested feature of half-height foundation snapping, so base builders rejoice, although there's word that prevention methods are also being worked on that'll affect honeycombing and wall stacking, but what those will be remains to be seen. EAC seems to have stood less for easy anti-cheat and more for easily accessed cheats this last month, with an influx of undetected hackers thanks to a bug in their code, which, to quote, trapped the runtime in a zombie state, at which point it no longer processed any kicks for banned players and even failed to enable network encryption on new connections. Long and short of it is that it should now be fixed and things will get betterer. Hopefully. The launch site changes I mentioned last week are finished and ready to be merged, but because some of the elevators are being removed, you'll have to wait until the forced whip on the 7th of December before liftoff on these. Over to AI progress, and the nav mesh, which enables NPCs to work their way around the landscape, has moved back to being baked at server startup. Just like real baking, this requires a type of oven, which in this instance is the server CPU, and it'll be using 100% whilst this process is carried out. If server owners need a workaround for this to prevent other processes from freezing, for instance, then there are details of how to do this on the dev blog, so please check those out. On the plus side, the most important upgrades so far have been ported over, including NPCs being rendered dormant when at a certain distance from players, and this should help with performance. Some other changes you may notice this week are that workbenches can no longer be locked, and that beanies properly deform hair. Wow. Also, there are new flowers and mushrooms being worked on, although this is not complete yet. Over to works in progress now, and for those of you wondering where admire animations are and why you can't currently rotate your shooty stick for a better look, they are still very much being worked on, but the problem is they all have to be implemented at the same time in order to not break the game. Pretty much the same as when throwing weapons was introduced. No date on this yet, but I'll keep you abreast. A proper model for the new primitive loot box is almost done, being rather well ventilated, as you can see here, and once finished, work will commence on the next tier. And finally, the new craftable hazmat suit that should prevent us from being mistaken for actual scientists is getting there, although I'm finding this picture very insulting. I mean, I know it's low poly, but where are the eyes on that boot? No, I see. It's a blind frog, isn't it? Please tell me this isn't some sort of sick joke. It is, isn't it? Either that or some sort of frog boot DLCs coming further down the line. Let me know what you thought of the changes this week, as I'm sure you will. Hoof the like and subscribe buttons if you haven't done so already, and please join me over on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and the Steam group too. I shall of course catch you all very soon, but in the meantime, keep calm and stay rusty. Cheerio.
All right, and as always, we thank Shadowfrax. I've got to say, I love his description of the tree falling mechanic. Very realistic. It just falls and just vanishes into the earth. Love the sarcasm on that. Of course, you can check out his YouTube channel, youtube.com/Shadowfrax, SHADOWFRAX. And, I mean, I could just read the notes.
Decide if we want to throw up a Rust server just to
actually play by ourselves. Yeah, I would like that.
Yeah, so we actually can see what's there.
That would be cool.
Because there's a lot of, I mean, you see all these screenshots. Like, we didn't see any of this.
No, because we were just getting killed by naked people with the slingshots over and over again.
Yeah, we never get anywhere. We're just we're in an open field with maybe some hills and things.
Yeah.
That's all we ever saw. So there's some water here and there, but there's all this stuff on the map that we've never seen. So I think it'd be kind of cool to throw up a server and at least experience the game without having trolls come in and just destroy us.
Yeah.
So.
Well, there you go.
All right. So let's go ahead and we will do the second game giveaway here. And let me get the right window up and I'll create the raffle. This will be a copy of Dead Rising 2.
Oh.
So this will be exclamation point giveaway. When you see it in chat, and it'll be 30 points once again. This will be a copy of Dead Rising 2, which on Steam has mostly positive ratings. It's about $20 right now on Steam, so we're giving it away for free, and it's not gambling, I swear.
No, it is gambling.
Exclamation point giveaway.
It's 100% gambling. Good luck.
Enter.
That's how you know it's a gamble. Good luck.
Because we know our cans in chat are so valuable.
They are. I'm just telling you. You're forcing children to... And actually, if you send us PayPal, we'll give you more cans.
Yeah. I'll gift you 1,000 cans.
Moving on to current players, which of course is a segment each and every week. We go through a couple games. We're going a little bit lighter this week because we're running a little low on time. We'll cover kind of the main games that we talk about and who is playing them, because we talk a lot of smack about some of these games, and we've got some evidence to support some of our claims with them. So let's jump into a couple games here. Firstly, H1Z1 King of the Kill, currently playing that. 10,368, the 24-hour peak, 27,431 with a 70 peak. By the way, all of these numbers are up like a couple of thousand from last week. 41,297. So These are up anywhere between 2,000 and 5,000 apiece, depending on the individual number. So that's good news coming out of H1Z1 with that. Moving on to Ark Survival Evolved. Currently playing this, 26,086. 41,155 is your 24-hour peak, with a 70 peak of 53,231. Moving on to everybody's favorite game, the only game that matters, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Currently playing this, 493,126. The 24-hour peak, 2,674,342. With a 7-day peak, it appears we're going to crack 3 million in the next couple weeks here. 2,904,846. 2.9 million is what we're looking at for PUBG on current players, which is just a copious amount of players. Yep. It'll probably break,
crazy,
especially around Christmas. Like, that number is going to skyrocket around Christmas. Actually, it'll probably be skyrocket next week because Thanksgiving break, I believe, for most class students will start.
But how many of these are American players? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
when
but you
is
got to
there gonna
remember
be a holiday in China?
Well, who knows? But it is interesting. I totally lost my train of thought. No, but I mean, you're only talking about 100,000 extra players. So if you have a whole bunch of college kids are going to be off from school for a week or so to get home for Thanksgiving, that may be enough to just notch it up to. I wouldn't be shocked if it was at 3 million next week, but I would guess it's probably going to be the week after. 100,000 is a lot when you're at 2.9 million, which is a lot, which is a lot of freaking players.
I mean, we were guessing whether or not they would hit 1 million by the end of the year, 2 million by the end of the year, and it looks like they're definitely going to hit 3 million for sure.
Oh, they will hit 3 million by the end of the year.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's unbelievable success story. So, I mean, there it is.
Congratulations to and there's actually an interesting interview I watched. I'll have to find the link to it that I think PH posted in our Discord, but it was a nice interview of him just talking about how the game came to be and how he started getting into the industry. So I would encourage anyone, if you saw that, well, I'll try to find it and maybe get it in the show notes, but it was a nice interview with Brandon. So, all right. So are we ready to roll into tip of the week?
I mean, I'm waiting for you. I'm ready to rock and roll.
All right. So tip of the week is where we go through and either give a general gaming tip or maybe for a specific game. This week, since we talked about it, the Black Death will be the game. And this is tip of the week. All right. So with Black Death, this is a survival game. And what I found so far, the toughest opponent in this game is the hunger and thirst. And so getting your initial foothold into the game and getting clean water and food is the toughest part that I've seen. So just give a little bit of a insight of where you can find these things. So when you're traveling around the world, keep an eye out. There's wells in the world. You'll see rivers, you'll see streams, and even some of the mud puddles on the ground. If you go up to them, you can actually gather water from those things. Also with animals that you see running around, if you can get some sort of like a stick or some sort of weapon and kill one of those animals, you can take that meat, and if you find a campfire, you can cook the meat over the campfire and it'll make it edible to where it won't make you sick. And the same thing is with the water as well. If you can go to a campfire with maybe you gathered from a mud puddle, dirty water, you could take that to a campfire, purify the water, and then you'll have the ability to drink it and have it not risk getting you sick. So also there's berries that you can find around. So when you're foraging, if you do find berries, eat those because they do give you a slight amount of hydration as well. So hopefully that'll help. That is something pretty basic, but when you're running around, you don't think to look, maybe because a lot of games you go up to the river, it doesn't actually do anything for you. And this one, go to the river, stand in the water, and you should see a queue to harvest it, and even just the puddles. And that is one of the toughest things to find in this game is water, because you can't go drink out of the ocean, which you would notice right away. You have to actually keep an eye out for those sources of water that are clean water. So that is tip of the week.
And thank you very much, Brian, of course. Now, I've gotten this request multiple times, and I thought this request was parlayed to you, but it appears it is not. We do need a Call of Duty tip of the week. That has been asked to me by multiple people. I'm being dead freaking serious.
I don't think I'm the person to give it Call of Duty tip of the week.
You know what? You're going to have to figure it out. You better watch some YouTube videos or something. So now you're on. We need a Call of Duty tip next week. I'm just saying. I'm being dead serious.
We'll see what happens.
No, you need to do a Call of Duty tip, Brian. Literally multiple people. I'm being dead serious. Multiple people, including MDC in chat, asked for a Call of Duty tip.
We'll see. We'll see. It'll be a World War II tip, since that's probably the only one I've played.
That's fine. That's fine. And then you can get a WoW tip. You've been playing some WoW. But we need a Call of Duty tip.
All right. We'll see. I'll think about it.
You're gonna let our good friend Matt down. How does that make you feel?
I'll try not to.
No, you will try to. I can tell right now you are not going to do it. So I'm going to come prepared with one, and then I'm really going to call you out. And I'm going to steal the segment. It's going to be Nick's tip of the week. And I expect a Call of Duty tip from you next week. No. You need to do a Call of Duty tip. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
I'll try to come up with something, but and you can rate me on whether or not it's actually a helpful tip.
And I'm not going to look at it beforehand. We will do a live rating of your tip.
Okay. We'll see which one's more helpful.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So once again, we will be setting up the server. Got the hard drive. Got the server ready to go. As far as I'll be putting an operating system on it this week, and hopefully we'll have it out on location sometime next week.
Or that,
and we can start putting some games on there, trying it out. So this should be a lot of fun. It's definitely a beefy server on a great internet connection. So it should be a very nice server experience that we have. So hopefully everyone enjoys it. We'll get games like The Forest. I think we should do, as we said, Rust, Ark. We'll go through and get some games on there and see what people enjoy the most and see what works the best, and then just keep some more permanent versions of those games going. Yeah. For those listening, Nick's got a server cam going, which has a picture of the server. It has a live video of the server there with breaking news. So yeah, we'll have to make sure we get a 24/7 live stream
arrow.
Yes, pointing to the middle of the server.
Yes.
So yeah, very good server. I think we got a really good deal on it. And I mean, they shipped it for pretty cheap because it's like a 70-pound server. So I think we did really well for shipping.
Yes, and again, as we said earlier in the program, all joking aside, we really appreciate everybody who was able to make that possible, and of course made our pack strip possible, which we did. It feels like it's been like a very long time. It was only like literally March of this year. It really wasn't that long ago.
9 months ago now.
But it feels like it's been an eternity, and it really has only been like 9 months. So, you know, thanks to all the people that made that possible, and now the server. And as I said last week or a couple weeks ago, our goal is to head out to PAX West 20. It would be 2018. It would be in July, August of next year. So we'll be coming back at you sometime after the first of the year, once we get all of our plans sorted out, and coming to you for some hopefully another crowd-funded campaign for PAX West. So we really appreciate everybody that's helped us throughout all these things, and hopefully you'll continue to in the future.
And if anybody's on the West Coast or is interested in going to that, let us know. We can do a meetup again.
Yes, we're going to probably be traveling with a pretty big crew this year.
Seattle.
It looks like we're gonna have a decent group of people going. Of course, we met up with our good friend Heisenberg in Boston last year. We had
that was one of the most delicious burgers I've ever had in my life.
Fantastic burger, unbelievable milkshake.
Lance loved it. 10 out of 10. Again. And
it's a driving snowstorm, but we had a lot of fun. He didn't kill us, which is always a plus when you're meeting up with strangers from the internet. So, I'd give it an 11 out of 10. On that. So yeah, definitely that's our goal. Things obviously are subject to change, especially with my kind of work situation now, but that's going to be our goal. So thanks to everybody for making those things possible.
Yep, very good. All right, if you want to find me on the internet,
giveaway.
We gotta do the giveaway. I don't know why I keep rolling out. That's 2 weeks ago. I did the exact same thing.
I'm pretty sure you did the same thing last week too. Yeah.
Or maybe it was last week.
I think it was
2 weeks
last
ago.
week. I think it was last week.
All right, so let's go and roll for this last one.
Somebody's breathing down your neck.
Congratulations, Locklore97, longtime watcher and listener of the show.
Long time, first time.
So congratulations. Yep, I will send you a message. Should be in your other messages. But you have won a copy of Dead Rising 2.
Yes, and of course, if you're interested in gambling and winning some free games, you can tune in every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern right here on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Infection Podcast. The Infection Casino is in full effect. So tune in every week. And we're giving away free stuff. And all you got to do is just send us some money via PayPal.
Yeah, I mean, we've given away $40 games, $30 games, $20 games.
It's great. Totally rigged. Absolutely rigged. Give us your money.
I mean, all you have to do is enter. It's amazing how it works.
Free. Spend your cans. Give us your cans.
Just send your cans.
Just send your cans.
Anyways,
if
you want to find me,
people need pillows and blankets. Just send your cans. That's all.
But if you just send your cans,
yeah, there you go. Send your cans, Brian, to you.
All right. If you want to find me at Boise Computer on Twitter, you're more than welcome to go check out my blog, biteoftech.com. Of course, that's with an I. And if you haven't joined our Discord, please do. We have people coming in every once in a while into that, but maybe you listen to the show for a while and you haven't gone to our Discord yet. Just go to our website, infectionpodcast.com. On the right-hand side, you will see join server, and that will connect you into our Discord. It's a free service. Has a nice mobile app as well. It's a great service for communicating while playing games. Also, we talk throughout the week. People put suggestions for news articles, maybe things they want discussed on the show. Also, we have, if you're looking to play some of these games with us, people have been playing WoW, Call of Duty, been playing, people still play H1Z1, just whatever, PUBG, whatever game that you're interested in. I encourage you to join, jump in a channel, let people know you're playing that. And a lot of times you will get some other people to join you. So I would encourage you to give it a shot. So I think that's it for me.
Absolutely. Brian, thank you very much. Thank you for purchasing the server and handling all that process. And obviously Brian's going to be our server admin on that. So we can all thank him for all the BS and abuse he's going to have to deal with. But it's okay. That's what he signed up for.
I'm used to it.
Yes. Yeah, he has to put up with me. Of course, as I'll echo exactly what Brian said, check out our... okay. I don't have that notification. I don't know what that is. If you could check that out real quick.
I think we just got a donation.
Yeah, could you check out can you look that up real quick before we wrap it up here?
Yeah.
I didn't realize I had that sound on.
You took off the
yeah, I did.
The visual cue, but the audio cue is still there.
Oh, there it is. Vertigo Bomber in with a $5 donation. Thank you, Vertigo Bomber. We greatly appreciate it. What I was going to say was, of course, check out our Discord. And I had somebody take us up on the COD offer. Our friend in chat, MDC, Matt, pinged us on Twitter and said, hey, you guys still playing COD? And joined our Steam community. We've played with him a couple nights in a row. We're still playing COD pretty much every night, around 10 to midnight-ish East Coast time. So
I had a hockey game last night, so I didn't jump in.
That's fine. I mean, just a couple. I played for a little while last night too. So if people are around, people are playing COD on the PS4, ping me on Twitter. Ping me at Nicholas M. Craig and at InfectionCast on Twitter. We'll get you everything you need. Everybody will friend you, and it's we've been having a ball. We've been having a really good time. So if you're interested, engage. Check us out. All right, Brian, thank you very much, and we will see you. Brian, have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You as well.
I appreciate that. It's almost forgot. Wrote in a little note for myself. As I said to Brian, have a happy Thanksgiving as well to everybody that's tuning in live here and everybody that's listening. Probably some people listening on a road trip to a family member's house coming up here on Thursday. So hope everybody has a happy and a safe Thanksgiving, and we will see you here. We'll see you Friday. If you're around in town, we'll be playing Rocket League, which is always a lot of fun, so make sure you join us for that if you're around. And then, of course, we'll see you next Tuesday for another episode of Infection. You can follow me on Twitter at Nicholas M. Craig. You can visit our website, infectionpodcast.com. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next time.